Hello friends. Now in this presentation we are going to talk about Maharashtra Act number 3 of 2007, which is published in the Maharashtra Government Gazette on the 5th February 2007. There are 50 sections under this act and two schedules. Now the chapter 1 is related to the preliminary concepts. Now I am going to highlight only the different sections of chapters, not the total sections, that is not the 50 sections. I am going to highlight only the points which is covered under this different chapters and schedules. So this chapter 1 is related to the preliminary concepts. This act is called Maharashtra Fire Prevention and Life Safety Measure Act 2006. So it is published in 2007. That is why it is called as Maharashtra Act number 3 of 2007. The name of this act is Maharashtra Fire Prevention and Life Safety Measure Act 2006. So the name itself clearly indicates that what exactly the objective or motto of this act is. So the fire prevention is one of the motto and second one is life safety. So under this act there are various aspects covered for the fire prevention techniques and for life safety measures. It is applicable for whole Maharashtra and it extends to the whole of state of Maharashtra, and there are different definitions under this chapter 1, like building bylaws, then CFO, that is Chief Fire Officer, then Director, License Agency, Local Authority, National Building Code of India 2005. Now here it is clearly mentioned that it is in addition to the NBC 2005. So whatever the National Building Code guidelines are given, in addition to that, this act is there, these sections are mentioned. National Building Code of India 2005 means the book containing fire prevention and life safety measures to be implemented in the buildings, places, premises, workshops, warehouses, and industries published by the BIS, that is Bureau of Indian Standards, from time to time, with or without amendments. So basically, this NBC 2005 is prepared for again, that is fire prevention and life safety measures. So in addition to this National Building Code 2005, there are some additional guidelines which is given under this act. The other definitions like occupier, then owner, planning authority, and special planning authority prescribe relevant municipal laws or some relation between these acts like Bombay Principal Municipal Corporation Act or Mumbai Municipal Corporation Act, City of Nagpur Corporation Acts, then rules and schedules. So these are the different definition. Normally we are knowing the meanings of this word or the terminologies. That is why I have skipped these definitions under these presentations. Then chapter 2 is related to the provisions relating to fire prevention and life safety measures. So owner should provide fire prevention and life safety measures in buildings. Now it is going to focus in the buildings. Minimum firefighting systems to be provided. So that may be a fire hydrant systems, fire rail systems, fire extinguishing systems, whatever the minimum requirement for firefighting is there, that should be provided by the owner. So owner definition is already given in chapter 1. NOC not to be given if rules are not complied. So if there are some specific guidelines, which type of fire fitting systems or the water connection systems, then pumping system, etc. are given. And if these systems are not implemented in the building, then NOC should not be provided by the fire department. That is no objections certificate. Now, after this act and the amended rule, it is necessary or mandatory to have the NOC from the fire department, and then only you will get the partial completion or complete certificate from the municipal corporation. So before applying for the municipal corporation, we have to fetch the NOC from the fire department. And for fetching this NOC from fire department, we have to comply all the necessary norms. Then the owner could give certificate to CFO, that is Chief Fire Officer of area, as per format twice in a year, that is in January and in July. So Chief Fire Officer or the director is the main authority of that specific area. That is, the CFO is different for different areas depending on the area, populations, and the facilities available in that area. So it is the authority of that CFO or director to give the certificate, to give the NOC, to check or to inspect all these minimum firefighting systems requirement, and then only this NOC can be given to that specific person who is applying for that NOC. Then preventive actions are given to CFO to remove risky items from premises after giving reasonable time to owner. So whatever the combustible material, whatever the flammable materials, whatever the explosive material, if whatever that material which is risky from the CFO point of view, from the director point of view, or from the firefighter point of view, then all these materials should be removed from that premises to avoid the fire. CFO can use police force for the same. So if the persons whose belonging of these all material is there, if they are not ready to remove all these risky material, then CFO can ask the help from the police department, from the police station. Then power of inspection, that is for CFO. So CFO can inspect any premises after giving 3 hours notice. So CFO of that area will give the notice before 3 hours, and after 3 hours he can inspect any premises, any building, any industries, or any type of building of that area. So after inspection, again, if you find any risky material, if you find any fuel or the flammable materials or explosive materials, then he can ask to remove all these materials to the owner. And if owner is not going to obey the order, then CFO again can ask the help from the police department. The CFO can give notice regarding fire prevention and life safety measures deviations. Will give time to take corrective actions. So sometimes it happens that CFO can observe the various things from the fire hazard point of view, from the life safety measures point of view, and then he can write down all these points which is related to the fire or life safety measures to that owner, and he can give the notice to that owner that you should act according to the guidelines from the CFO or fire department, and this should be all these activities should be completed within 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, or in a year, depending on the situation or the conditions. So he can give the time to take the corrective action, and after taking the corrective action, he can again inspect or check that premises whether all the necessary guidelines are implemented or executed in that premises or not. Then CFO can seal the premises of non-compliances of notice, can recover the expenses even by selling the land. So after giving the notice by chief fire officer or the fire department, and after giving a specific time for corrective action, if the owner is not going to take the necessary action for the fire measures or for the life safety measures, then CFO and the director have the authority to seal that premises, and the reason is non-compliance of the notice. So whatever the points mentioned in that notice, if they are not going to comply all these things, then CFO can seal the premises. If necessary, they can recover the expenses even by selling that land also. The CFO can order the sealing of buildings. So depending on the condition, depending on the severity of the fire hazard, depending on the severity of that life safety measures, CFO can take the decision for sealing that building also. So these are the different provisions relating to the fire prevention and life safety measures, and the main authority is CFO or director. Then chapter 3 is related to the license agency, that is power to grant the license to act as a license agency. So CFO may grant any person, association a license to act as a license agency for the purpose of this act. So the person or the association or organization can apply for this type of license, and CFO may grant the license depending on the compliance or the situation and conditions. So license agency to carry out work of providing fire prevention and life safety measures. So whatever the facilities, whatever the qualifications, whatever the minimum criteria is required for this fire prevention and life safety measures, all these things can be inspected and verified by the CFO or director, and then they can give the license to that person or association. Then chapter 4 is related to the provisions relating to the levy, collection and recovery of the fire service fees. So here it is clear that it is related to the fees. So whatever the fire services or the fire facilities or firefighting systems are provided by the fire department, so all these expenses should be recovered by the fire department through different types of fees. Can levy tax on the buildings as per the given schedule. Rates will be different for different buildings as per the act and schedule. So schedule 1 and schedule 2 gives the details regarding these types of buildings as well as the fee which is allotted to that different types of building. The different rates are given. Then authority should follow preliminary procedure before enhancing or reducing the enhanced fees. So all the authorities that is under fire department should notice, should check, should verify the realities for recovering of these types of fees, and before reducing the fees or before enhancing the fee, the authority should follow all the preliminary procedures. The annual fee will be imposed at the rate of 1% of the minimum fees specified in the respective columns of the part 1 and part 2. So there are three parts in the part 1 and part 2. Annual fee will be imposed at the rate of 1% of the minimum fees. Then assessment will be done for new buildings and fee will be imposed. In case of completed building before the date of coming into the force of this act, no fees shall be levied under this chapter. So the main point is that the fees is applicable to the new buildings after the publishing of this act. So old buildings are not levied, under this chapter. Exemption is granted on any building vested in or under the control or possession of the central or state government or any authority. So exemption may be there depending on the conditions, depending on the realities. So all these things will be checked by the state government or the central government authority, and they can decide whether to go for the exemptions or not. The state government can issue notification to enhance the fees for purchase of equipments, hiring manpower, recruiting new personnel, etc. Because nowadays the fire incidences or some other accidents are increasing day by day, and that is why in different areas at different locations there are different facilities should be available for that specific area, because the city area as well as the village or taluka areas are also increasing, the development is also increasing, and that is why we should provide that fire department or the state government should provide the latest equipment or different facilities like fire tender, fire extinguisher, and with manpower. And for that purpose, the fees can be enhanced by the state government to satisfy the requirement of these equipments, the manpower, and their payments. Now, chapter 5 is related to the director of fire service. So we have mentioned the CFO and the director are the main authority who are having the authorities to give the NOC, the authorities to give the notices, the authorities to seal the buildings, the authorities to inspect various premises, or the authorities who are having to remove the unnecessary or the risky material from the premises to avoid the fire or to avoid the other accidents. So the appointment of director, other officers and staff to assist the director. So all these things is done by the state government time to time depending on the requirement of that area, depending on the requirement from that MIDCs or whatever the development in the last 5 to 10 years. So depending on that, state government is going to publish the advertisement. They are going to clear the minimum qualification, minimum experience criteria, and depending on all these routine written tests or interviews or verification of original documents, state government is going to appoint this director and other officer or assistant director or other staff to assist that directors. Then after appointment, state government is going to give the powers and the specific duties or the functions to that director. So powers are defined whatever we have discussed in the previous slides. All these are the powers of these directors, like head of department, and they are going to work or function like a HOD, and then under this head of department they can appoint the different assistant to the director or different staff under this department time to time depending on the requirement and load of work. Then chapter 6 is related to the provisions regarding fire officers and fire personnel. So classification of authorities and creation of post in fire services, that is one of the point in this chapter 6. So fire officers or firefighters, fire personnel, assistant to this firefighter, assistant to these chief fire officers, assistant to the directors, all these designations can be created by this director or CFO, and this is the power of that CFO or director to create these posts and to fill these posts relating to these fire officers and fire personnel. So that is under chapter 6. So the municipal corporation of Brihan Mumbai or municipal corporation having minimum population above 15 lakhs, or that is classified as class A or class municipal corporations. Then municipal corporation having population of 5 lakhs up to 15 lakhs, that is class B, and the other municipal corporation under class C, that is less than 5 lakhs. Then municipal corporations like municipal councils or Nagpur panchayats, industrial townships, etc., are nothing but the class D. So depending on the classes, depending on the area, depending on the development, the staff, the officers which is required in that area can be appointed by the director or CFO. Then chapter 7 is related to the constitution of special fund. So whatever the expenses for this manpower like chief fire superintendent or fire superintendent, then assistant chief fire superintendent or assistant fire superintendent, then station officer, assistant station officer, sub officer, or any other officers, and the fire personnel. So these manpower is required for the firefighting, for the life safety measures, and all these persons are appointed with reference to this chapter 6, and whatever the expenses are there for these payments of all these personals, whatever the equipments purchase, whatever the technological change, whatever the buildings or the quarters provisions for these firefighter, etc., so all these expenses can be recovered with the funding or the taxes. So chapter 7 is related to the constitution of special funds. So whatever the funds or the expenses are not going to recover with the help of taxes, then they can recover for the special provision or the constitution of special fund. So there shall be constituted a special fund called the fire protection fund, to which shall be credited the fees imposed and collected under this act. So this constitution of special fund is nothing but the fire protection fund, and state government can ask to submit all these fire protection fund, or can reflect it into the budget estimated by the respective authority, and the account in respect thereof shall be maintained and audited in accordance with the procedure prescribed in the for the purpose of this maintenance of accounts and relevant laws. So state government authority can opt for this option like special fund or fire protection fund. Then chapter 8 is related to the supplemental and miscellaneous. So whatever the points which is not covered under chapter 7, that can be covered, or in addition to that points, if you want to add some points, then it is called as supplemental points. And if it is complicated one, or it is a combination of some one or more points, then it is called as miscellaneous. So the CFO can requisition firefighting property for any organization nearby during fire for extinguish the fire. So if there is a fire incident or fire accident, or somewhere the fire is catch, then the CFO are having the authorities or power to use the property which is near to that fire accidents. Then power of CFO and director on occasion of this fire can remove, close any street break into or through, ask for water supply by closing for other use, act as a police in absence of police. So in case of fire accidents, CFO or that director can act like a police. So they can street break, then they can ask for the water supply, and they can close that particular road or traffic also to avoid the extension of this fire accident. So in absence of police, they can act as a police also. Then they can draw water from any source. So whatever the sources available nearby to that fire accident or fire point, they can get the water from that any type of source without any permission. They can hire the agency who is supply fire extinguisher services. Suppose some other agencies or other industries are having the good or fire extinguishing systems or fire tender systems, they can ask or they can hire these types of agencies or the fire tender services from various sources, and they can open the training center also. So for satisfying the needs, for satisfying the needs of fire department, for satisfying the needs of requirement under the fire department, and for giving the different types of training for fire extinguishment as well as for the fire safety measures or for life safety measures, they can open the training center in that area also. Even they can provide the quarter or residential arrangement for the trainees, and for these buildings, for these facilities, whatever the expenses are there, so these expenses can be recovered with the help of taxes or the fees which is collected by the different buildings. Then they can deal with the offenses, and penalties can be punished not to less than 6 months, but which may extend to 3 years, and with fine rupees 20,000 to 50,000. So they are having the powers to uh, give the penalties to a specific person or to the association or the industries. Depending on the condition, they can fine up to 50,000 and minimum 20,000, or even they can punish not less than 6 months for some of the offenses. So the offenses under subsection 4 of section 3 and subsection 4 of subsection 8 shall be cognizable and non-bailable. So these are the non-bailable offenses under the subsection 4 of section 3 and subsection 4 of section 8. Offense by the companies, then any building property having height of 30 meter and above used for hotel, hospital, business, mercantile, mixed occupancy, or whatever kind of purpose should appoint fire officer or fire supervisor. So it is a mandatory or essential conditions for the buildings having 30-meter plus height that they should provide a fire officer or fire supervisor. The building application or uses may be as a hotel, maybe as a hospital, for business, for mercantile purpose, for mixed occupancy, whatever it may be. So the appointment of fire officer or the fire supervisor is necessary with reference to this chapter 8. Then chapter 9 is related to the rules. So state government can make the rules. They are having the powers to make the rules under this act, under the guidelines of this act, and they are also having the power to remove the difficult points in case of difficulty. So under this 9th chapter, there are 50 sections, and now it is a schedule 1. So this schedule 1 with reference to section 3 subsection 1, minimum requirement for firefighting installations. So under this schedule, the table is given, that is type of building occupancy, which type of building is there, residential building A, under that again that lodging or rooming houses, that is A1, then under that again less than 15-meter height, then different conditions like up to 15 rooms, then more than 15 to 30 rooms, then more than 30 rooms, then B, 1 or 2 family private dwellings like A2 building, then dormitories or apartment houses, etc. So this is A1 type building, this is A2 type building, this is A3, this is A4 and likewise. So depending on the height of building also, that is less than 15 meter, then less than 15 meter and some other conditions, then 30 meter and other conditions likewise. There are different types of buildings. So this is for the residential buildings A. So if you go for this type of installation, fire extinguisher, then house reel, then dry riser, then wet riser, then downcomer, then yard mistletoe, then automatic sprinkler systems, manually operated electric fire alarm systems, then automatic detections and alarm systems. And these are the different types of installations. Then water supply in liters, that is underground static water storage tank should be there. Then terrace tank should be there. Then pump capacity in liters, that is pump near underground static water storage tank, that is called as fire pump. Then with minimum pressure of 0.3 Newton per mm square at terrace level and at the tank level with minimum pressure of 0.3 Newton per mm square. So these are the different conditions which are given for minimum requirements for firefighting installations under this schedule 1. And all these things, that is minimum requirements of water in liters and the type of installations are given under this schedule 1. Then this is schedule 2, that is section 3.1. Explanation in section 11.1 is given, and part 1, part 2 and part 3. There are 3 parts under this schedule 2. So that part 1 is related to the fire service fee structure for municipal corporations. So this is clearly for the municipal corporations. So fire service fee structure for municipal corporation. Under this table, you can observe the type of building of occupancy, like residential building A, again the buildings like A1, then A2, A3, A4, etc. And there is specific height of that building, that is like 15 meter, then 24 meter, then 24 to 35 meter, then above 35 meter, then above 45 meter, etc. So for the lodging or rooming houses, that is A1 category, less than 15 meter height, so there is no fee structure for these municipal corporations. And for these up to 15 rooms, these are the conditions, that is these are the fees. Then for 15 to 30 rooms, these are the fees. For more than 30 rooms, these are the fees. So which type of fees is applicable? This is the municipal corporation where population exceeds 50 lakhs, municipal corporation where population exceeds 25 up to 25 50, then from 10 lakhs to 25 lakhs, then from 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs, and from 3 lakhs to 5 lakhs. So all these things are applicable to the municipal corporation where population exceeds from 3 lakhs to 50 plus lakhs. So these are the different columns for that specific category. So fees in rupees per square meter and subject to minimum of rupees. So minimum fees is for the A1 building up to 15 rooms, 500 for per square meter. So depending on the area, we can calculate these fees. But the minimum fees is 30,000, and likewise you can observe the different fee structure for the different buildings for this fire service fee structure for municipal corporations. Then likewise part 2 is there, fee service fee structure for municipal councils. Now in this case, municipal councils where population exceeds 2 lakhs but does not exceed 3 lakhs, then municipal council where population exceeds 1 lakh but does not exceed 2 lakhs, then municipal council where population exceeds 0.4 lakh but does not exceed 1 lakh, and municipal councils where population exceeds 0.25 lakh but does not exceed 0.4. So this is part 2, especially for the municipal corporation where the population is from 0.25 lakhs to 3 lakhs. So these tables and these guidelines or the fee structure or the part 2 is related to that municipal councils only. So there are various types of buildings again, that may be a lodging or rooming houses, apartment houses, hotels, etc. Then this is the part 3, which is related to the fire service fee structure for special planning authorities and other areas beyond special planning authorities and municipal limits. So if there are special planning authorities are there, then you can charge the fees in the table which is given for these different types of building again. Then other areas beyond special planning authority and municipal limits, the fee structure is given in this table. So these are the part 1, part 2 and part 3 under this schedule 2 of this act. Thank you.